The vastness of space stretched out before Captain Alex Chen as he stood on the bridge of the Starseeker, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel. The ship hummed with energy, its sleek design a testament to human ingenuity and determination. Alex's dark eyes scanned the star-speckled void, searching for any sign of the anomaly that had brought them to this uncharted sector. "Captain, I'm picking up an unusual energy signature," Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez called out from her station. Her fingers danced across the holographic display, bringing up a detailed scan of their surroundings. "It's faint, but definitely artificial. Bearing 047, Mark 23. Alex leaned forward, his interest piqued. "On screen, Lieutenant." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a distant speck of light amidst the darkness. As the Starseeker's advanced sensors focused on the object, its true nature became apparent, a ship, but unlike any they had encountered before. "Magnify," Alex ordered, his voice steady despite the excitement building in his chest. This was why they had joined the Cosmic Exploration Initiative, to make first contact, to discover the unknown. The image zoomed in, revealing a vessel of breathtaking beauty. Its hull gleamed with an iridescent sheen, organic curves blending seamlessly with what appeared to be crystalline structures. But something was wrong. Even from this distance, Alex could see the damage. Great rents torn in the ship's side, debris floating in a ghostly cloud around it. "Life signs?" Alex asked, already moving towards the turbolift. Sarah's voice was tense as she replied, "4 faint biosignatures, Captain. They're deteriorating rapidly." Alex's decision was instantaneous. "Prep the shuttle bay. I'm leading the rescue team myself." "Captain," his first officer, Commander Jack Thompson, protested, "Regulations state." "To hell with regulations, Jack," Alex cut him off, his eyes blazing with determination. "There are lives at stake. You have the bridge." Minutes later, Alex found himself piloting a sleek rescue shuttle towards the alien vessel, accompanied by Dr. Emily Foster, the ship's chief medical officer, and Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, their xenobiology expert. As they drew closer, the true extent of the damage became apparent. "My God," Emily breathed, her eyes wide as she took in the destruction. "What could have done this?" Rage's voice was grim as he studied his readings. Whatever it was, it packed one hell of a punch. The energy residue, I've never seen anything like it. Alex maneuvered the shuttle carefully alongside the alien ship, searching for a safe docking point. "We'll worry about the what later. Right now, our priority is getting those survivors out." After several tense moments, they managed to establish a seal with one of the less damaged airlocks. Alex led the way, his pulse pounding as he stepped into the alien vessel. The interior was as strange and beautiful as the exterior, corridors that seemed to be grown rather than built, pulsing with a faint bioluminescence. "This way," Raj called out, his tricorder beeping insistently. "The life signs are coming from what I think is the bridge." They made their way through the ship, stepping over debris and sparking conduits. The damage was extensive, and Alex couldn't help but wonder what kind of hellish battle this vessel had endured. When they finally reached the bridge, they were met with a sight that took their breath away. 4 alien females lay unconscious at various stations, each one a vision of otherworldly beauty. Their skin ranged from pale lavender to deep indigo, with hair that seemed to shimmer and move its own accord. Delicate, almost crystalline structures adorned their foreheads and ran down their arms. Emily rushed forward, her medical tricorder whirring as she scanned the closest alien. "They're alive, but barely. Some kind of stasis field is preserving them, but it's failing. We need to get them to the Starseeker's med bay immediately." Alex nodded, already moving to lift one of the aliens. She was surprisingly light in his arms, her skin cool to the touch. As he gazed down at her face, he felt a strange sensation, as if he was standing on the edge of something momentous, a turning point not just for him, but for all of humanity. "Careful," Raj warned as they began to move the aliens. Their physiology is unlike anything we've encountered. We don't want to cause any unintended harm. It took all of their strength and ingenuity to safely transport the 4 alien women back to their shuttle. Alex found himself constantly glancing at their unconscious forms, a mixture of awe and concern churning in his gut. Who were they? What had happened to their ship? And how would they react when they woke up in a vessel full of aliens, humans? As they sped back towards the Starseeker, Alex opened a channel to the bridge. Thompson, have medbay prepped for 4 alien patients. And get our linguists and first contact specialists on standby. Things are about to get very interesting. The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. The alien women were rushed to medbay, where Dr. Foster and her team worked tirelessly to stabilize their condition. Alex found himself pacing the corridor outside, his mind racing with questions and possibilities. Finally, Emily emerged, looking exhausted but triumphant. Their stable captain. Whatever that stasis field was, it did its job. They should make a full recovery. Alex let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Any idea when they'll regain consciousness? Emily shook her head. It's hard to say with an alien physiology. Could be hours, could be days. But there's something else you should know. She hesitated, her expression a mix of excitement and disbelief. Preliminary scans show. Well, they're not just alien, Alex. They're highly advanced. Their neural pathways, their cellular structure, it's like nothing we've ever seen. These beings could be hundreds, maybe thousands of years ahead of us technologically. The implications of her words hit Alex like a thunderbolt. This wasn't just first contact. This could be the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe. But with that tantalizing possibility came a sobering realization. They were now responsible for the lives of 4 beings whose very existence could change the course of human history. Keep me updated on their condition, Alex said, his voice steady despite the turmoil of emotions within him. I want to be notified the moment any of them show signs of waking up. As he turned to leave, Emily called out, Alex. He paused, looking back at her. Whatever happens next, we're making history here. Try to remember that. With a nod, Alex headed back to the bridge. The Starseeker hung in space next to the damaged alien vessel, a stark contrast of human and alien design. As he gazed out at the 2 ships, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they stood on the precipice of a new era. For better or worse, the universe had just become a much larger, more complex place. In the days that followed, the crew of the Starseeker worked around the clock to unravel the mysteries of their alien guests. Linguists pored over the limited data they had managed to salvage from the alien ship's computers, trying to decipher their language. Xenobiologists marveled at the complexity of their physiology, each new discovery leading to a dozen more questions. And through it all, Alex found himself drawn back to medbay, standing vigil over the 4 unconscious women. He couldn't explain the pull he felt towards them, the sense of connection that defied logic or reason. As he watched the gentle rise and fall of their chests, he made a silent vow. No matter what challenges lay ahead, he would protect them. They had entrusted their lives to him and his crew, however unknowingly, and he would not let them down. Little did Alex know that when those alien eyes finally opened, his life and the fate of 2 species would be changed forever. The adventure was only just beginning, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath in anticipation of what was to come. The soft hum of medical equipment filled the air as Captain Alex Chen stood watch in the Starseeker's med bay. It had been 3 days since the rescue, and the 4 alien women remained unconscious, their bodies suspended in shimmering stasis fields. Dr. Emily Foster approached, her face a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Captain, I think it's happening. Their neural activity is spiking. They're waking up. Alex's heart raced as he watched the first alien stir. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing irises that swirled with colors like the surface of a soap bubble. She blinked, confusion evident on her face as she took in her surroundings. Hello, Alex said softly, trying to keep his voice calm and reassuring. You're safe. We rescued you from your damaged ship." The alien woman's gaze locked onto him, and suddenly Alex felt a presence in his mind, not invasive, but curious, probing. He gasped, realizing she was attempting to communicate telepathically. Dr. Foster quickly activated the universal translator they had been programming with the limited data from the alien ship. It crackled to life just as the other 3 aliens began to regain consciousness. Where are we?" The words came through the translator, stilted but understandable. It was the first alien who had awakened, her voice melodious even through the electronic interface. "You're aboard the Starseeker, an exploration vessel from Earth," Alex explained. "I'm Captain Alex Chen. We found your ship badly damaged and brought you here for medical treatment." The 4 alien women exchanged glances, a silent conversation seeming to pass between them. Finally, the one who had spoken first turned back to Alex. "I am Zara," she said. "These are my sisters, Lyra, Naya, and Vex. We are Astrines, and we owe you a debt of gratitude, Captain Alex Chen of Earth." As the Astrines regained their strength over the next few days, Alex and his crew worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between their cultures. The universal translator improved rapidly, thanks to the Astrines' telepathic abilities and the humans' advanced AI algorithms. During one of their cultural exchange sessions, Lyra, the Astrine with shimmering silver hair, asked, "Your people, humans, you travel the stars, yet you seem so young. How is this possible?" Alex smiled, a hint of pride in his voice. "We're explorers at heart. Our technology may not be as advanced as yours, but we make up for it with determination and ingenuity." Vex, the most reserved of the 4, tilted her head curiously. "Intriguing. Your species has much potential, it seems." As the days passed, Alex found himself growing increasingly fascinated by the Astrines. Each had a distinct personality. Zara was a natural leader, wise beyond her years. Lyra was endlessly curious about human culture. Naya had a mischievous streak that often left the crew in stitches, and Vex, though quiet, had a sharp mind that quickly grasped complex scientific concepts. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Cultural misunderstandings were frequent and sometimes comical. During a tour of the ship, Naya had innocently asked to merge minds with the ship's AI, nearly causing a panic among the human crew. And the Astrines were baffled by many human customs, particularly the concept of personal space. "You mean you don't share your thoughts freely with your crewmates?" Lyra had asked, genuinely perplexed. "How do you function as a unit?" Alex had laughed. "We manage. Sometimes keeping our thoughts to ourselves can be a good thing." As they learned more about each other's species, a growing tension began to build. The Astrines were clearly attracted to Alex, their gazes lingering on him, their touches lasting just a bit too long. For his part, Alex couldn't deny the pull he felt towards them. Their otherworldly beauty, their keen intellects, and their kind hearts were a potent combination. But there was something else, a shadow that fell over the Astrines' faces whenever talk turned to their home or the reason for their damaged ship. Alex knew they were holding something back, some crucial piece of information. It all came to a head during a private meeting in Alex's quarters. The 4 Astrine women sat across from him, their expressions grave. "Captain," Zara began, her voice heavy with emotion, "we haven't been entirely truthful with you. The damage to our ship, it wasn't an accident." Alex leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "I had my suspicions. What happened out there?" Lyra picked up the thread. "We were attacked by a force known as the Void Horde. They are a scourge upon the galaxy, consuming all in their path. Our people have been at war with them for generations." "We were on a mission," Naya added, her usual playfulness absent. "To find allies, to seek help in our fight. But the Void Horde found us first." Vex, who had been silent until now, met Alex's gaze. "Your rescue of us was not just an act of kindness, Captain. It may have altered the fate of our entire species." The weight of their words settled over the room. Alex's mind raced with the implications. This wasn't just about cultural exchange or scientific discovery anymore. They were now entangled in an intergalactic conflict with stakes higher than he could have imagined. "Tell me everything," Alex said, his voice firm. "If there's a threat to your people, to the galaxy, we need to know what we're dealing with." For the next few hours, the Austrians laid out the history of their conflict with the Void Horde. They spoke of worlds consumed, of entire civilizations wiped out, of a relentless enemy that seemed to grow stronger with each passing year. As they talked, Alex felt a change come over him. The explorer in him was giving way to something else, a protector, a warrior. He looked at the four Austrian women, saw the hope and fear in their eyes, and knew that his fate was now inexorably linked with theirs. "We'll help you," he said finally, his decision made. "Whatever it takes, we'll stand with the Austrians against this Void Horde." The relief on their faces was palpable. Zara reached out, taking Alex's hand in hers. The touch sent a jolt through him, a connection that went beyond the physical. "Thank you, Alex," she said softly. "You don't know what this means to us, to our people." As they left his quarters, Alex couldn't help but notice the looks the Austrian women exchanged, a mixture of gratitude, admiration, and something else. Something that made his heart race and his palms sweat. He shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. There would be time to sort out these complicated feelings later. Right now, they had a war to prepare for. Stepping onto the bridge, Alex's voice rang out with newfound purpose. "Set a course for Austrian space. Maximum warp. It's time we took the fight to the Void Horde." As the Starseeker's engines hummed to life, propelling them towards an uncertain future, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. The stars stretched out before them, full of danger and promise in equal measure. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew one thing for certain: his life and the lives of his crew would never be the same again. The Starseeker streaked through the cosmos, its warp engines pushing the limits of human technology. On the bridge, Captain Alex Chen studied the star charts, plotting their course through unfamiliar space. The journey to Austrian territory would take weeks, even at maximum warp, and every moment counted in their race against the Void Horde. "Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez called out, "long-range sensors are picking up an anomaly at the edge of the Cerulean Nebula. It matches the energy signature of Void Horde technology." Alex's jaw tightened. Tactical analysis. Commander Thompson's fingers flew over his console. "It appears to be a scout ship, sir. Small, probably fast. If they detected us, they could alert the main fleet." "We can't let that happen," Alex said, his mind racing through options. "Helm, set an intercept course. We'll have to deal with this quickly and quietly." As they approached the nebula, tension on the bridge ratcheted up. The swirling gases of the celestial phenomenon played havoc with their sensors, making it difficult to pinpoint the exact location of the Void Horde scout. "I have an idea," came a soft voice from behind Alex. He turned to see Lyra, her silver hair seeming to shimmer in the low light of the bridge. "Our Austrian technology might be able to penetrate the nebula's interference." Alex nodded. "Do it." Lyra placed her hands on the sensor array, her eyes closing in concentration. A soft glow emanated from her fingertips, and suddenly the view screen came alive with crisp, clear images of the nebula's interior. "There," she said, pointing to a dark shape moving through the gases. "The Void Horde scout." "Impressive," Alex murmured, then raised his voice. "Tactical, target their propulsion systems. We want to disable, not destroy. We might be able to gather valuable intelligence." The next few minutes were a tense game of cat and mouse as the Starseeker maneuvered through the nebula, trying to get a clean shot at the agile scout ship. Finally, an opening presented itself. "Fire," Alex ordered. Phaser beams lanced out, striking the Void Horde vessel with pinpoint accuracy. The scout ship spiraled out of control, trailing plasma as it drifted to a stop. "Good work, everyone," Alex said, allowing himself a small smile. "Prepare a boarding party." Let's see what secrets our new friends are hiding. As they suited up for the mission, Alex couldn't help but notice the way the four Astrine women moved in perfect synchronization, their movements fluid and graceful even in the bulky environmental suits. Zara caught his eye, a knowing smile playing at her lips. "We may not look it, Captain, but we Astrines are formidable warriors when the need arises," she said. Alex nodded, impressed. "I don't doubt it, but this is still a human operation. I need you to follow my lead in there." The boarding party materialized on the Void Horde scout ship, phasers at the ready. The interior was unlike anything Alex had ever seen, organic technology meshed with cold, unfeeling metal in a grotesque fusion that sent shivers down his spine. As they made their way to the bridge, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The ship seemed almost alive, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. Suddenly, a horrific screech filled the air. From the shadows emerged a creature that defied description, part machine, part organic matter, its eyes glowing with malevolent intelligence. "Void Horde," Naya shouted, raising her weapon. The creature lunged, its movements impossibly fast. Alex fired, but his phaser beam seemed to be absorbed by the creature's strange, shifting form. Just as it was about to reach him, Vex stepped forward, her hands glowing with ethereal energy. She unleashed a pulse of power that sent the Void Horde creature flying backwards, its body convulsing as it collapsed to the ground. "Are you all right, Captain?" Vex asked, her usual reserve giving way to concern. Alex nodded, his heart pounding. "Thanks to you. What was that?" "A void drone," Lara explained, her voice grim. "Foot soldiers of the Horde. They're biosynthetic constructs, nearly impossible to kill by conventional means." As they secured the ship and began downloading its databanks, Alex's mind raced with the implications of what they'd seen. The Void Horde was more advanced, more alien than he had imagined. How could humanity hope to stand against such a force? Back on the Starseeker, as the crew pored over the intelligence they gathered, Alex found himself in a quiet corner of the observation deck. The stars streaked by outside, a reminder of the vast distances they still had to cover. He sensed a presence behind him and turned to find Zara approaching, her luminescent skin seeming to glow in the starlight. "Heavy thoughts, Captain?" she asked, moving to stand beside him. Alex sighed. "Just trying to wrap my head around what we're up against. The Void Horde, they're unlike anything we've ever encountered." Zara's hand found his, her touch sending a warm tingle up his arm. "You're not alone in this fight, Alex. Our peoples may be different, but together we're stronger than the sum of our parts." He turned to face her, struck once again by her otherworldly beauty and the wisdom in her eyes. "How do you do it, Zara? How do you face an enemy like this without losing hope?" She smiled, a hint of sadness in her expression. "We remember what we're fighting for. Our homes, our families, the future of our species. And now," she added, her gaze intensifying, "we have even more reason to hope." The moment stretched between them, charged with unspoken emotions. Alex found himself leaning in, drawn by an irresistible force. Zara's eyes fluttered closed, her lips parting slightly. "Captain to the bridge." Commander Thompson's voice crackled over the intercom, shattering the moment. "We're picking up a distress signal." Alex pulled back, his professional demeanor snapping back into place. "On my way," he replied, then turned to Zara. "Duty calls." She nodded, understanding in her eyes. "Always." As they hurried to the bridge, Alex's mind whirled with conflicting emotions. The attraction he felt towards Zara, towards all the Astrine women, if he was honest with himself, was growing stronger by the day. But with the fate of multiple worlds hanging in the balance, could he afford to let his heart lead the way? On the bridge, the situation quickly became clear. The distress signal was coming from a small mining outpost on the edge of a distant solar system. According to the message, they were under attack by Void Horde forces. "It could be a trap," Commander Thompson warned. Alex nodded, considering their options. It could be. But if it's genuine, we can't ignore it. Those people need our help. He turned to the Astrine women, who had taken up positions around the bridge. What do you think? Lyra spoke up, her expression thoughtful. The Void Horde doesn't usually bother with small outposts unless they're after something specific. There might be more to this than meets the eye. Agreed, Alex said. Helm, set a course for the outpost maximum warp. We'll approach with caution, but we're going in. As the Starseeker changed course, hurtling towards potential danger, Alex couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. Every encounter with the Void Horde brought them one step closer to understanding their enemy, but also increased the risk of discovery. He looked around the bridge, at his human crew working seamlessly alongside their Astrine allies. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew they would face them together. The bonds forged in the crucible of this journey were growing stronger by the day, transcending the boundaries of species and culture. As they raced towards the embattled outpost, Alex steeled himself for the battle to come. Little did he know that this rescue mission would test not only their combat skills, but also the trust between humans and Astrines, and ultimately, the depths of his own heart. The Starseeker dropped out of warp on the outskirts of the Epsilon Eridani system, its sensors immediately scanning for signs of the distressed mining outpost. Captain Alex Chen leaned forward in his chair, eyes fixed on the main view screen. Report, he commanded, his voice taut with tension. Lieutenant Rodriguez's fingers danced over her console. The distress signal is coming from the third planet, sir. It's a small terraformed world, primarily used for mineral extraction. I'm detecting multiple energy signatures consistent with Void Horde technology in orbit and on the surface. Alex's jaw clenched. Life signs. Faint, but present, Rodriguez replied. Approximately 200 colonists clustered in what appears to be a fortified bunker. They're surrounded by Void Horde forces. We can't take on their entire fleet, Commander Thompson warned. We're outnumbered and outgunned. Alex nodded, his mind racing through options. He turned to the Astrine women, who had taken up positions around the bridge. Any ideas? Zora stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with determination. We might not be able to defeat them in open combat, but we Astrines have other ways of evening the odds. If we can get close enough, we can use our psionic abilities to disrupt their neural networks. It's risky, Vex added, her usual stoic demeanor tinged with concern. We have to be within the planet's atmosphere, and it would leave us vulnerable. Alex weighed the options, feeling the weight of 200 lives on his shoulders. It's a risk we'll have to take. Helm, plot a course for the planet. We'll use the magnetic poles to mask our approach. Tactical, be ready with everything we've got. As the Starseeker descended into the planet's atmosphere, the tension on the bridge was palpable. Alex could feel the hum of the ship's systems, pushed to their limits as they tried to remain undetected. Suddenly, alarms blared. We've been spotted, Thompson shouted. 2 Void Horde cruisers on an intercept course. Evasive maneuvers, Alex ordered. Get us as close to the surface as you can. We need to buy time for the Astrines to work their magic. The ship lurched as it dove deeper into the atmosphere, plasma trails streaking behind it as the Void Horde opened fire. Alex gripped his chair, watching as his crew worked in perfect synchronization, human and Astrine alike. We're in range, Lyra called out. Beginning psionic disruption now. The 4 Astrine women joined hands, their eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Alex felt a strange tingling at the base of his skull, a side effect of the immense psychic energy they were channeling. On the viewscreen, he watched in awe as the Void Horde ships began to falter. Their movements became erratic, their weapons fire going wild. It's working, Rodriguez exclaimed. Their systems are going haywire. Alex allowed himself a moment of hope before barking out his next orders. Tactical, target their propulsion systems. Let's make sure they can't follow us. Helm, take us in low. We need to evacuate those colonists. The next hour was a blur of frantic activity. The Starseeker's transporters worked overtime, beaming up colonists in groups, while the ship's weapons kept the disoriented Void Horde at bay. Alex coordinated it all from the bridge, his voice steady even as sweat beaded on his brow. Just as the last group of colonists materialized on board, a massive energy surge rocked the ship. "Report," Alex shouted over the sound of creaking metal. "The Void Horde is adapting to the psionic attack," Naya said, her voice strained with effort. "We can't hold them back much longer." "Helm, get us out of here. Maximum warp as soon as we clear the atmosphere." The Starseeker shot upwards, its hull glowing red-hot from the rapid ascent. Void Horde weapons fire chased them, each near miss sending shudders through the ship. "Warp drive online," the helm officer called out. "Course laid in. Engage." The stars stretched into lines as the Starseeker leaped to warp, leaving the Void Horde and the mining planet behind. A collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge. Alex slumped in his chair, the adrenaline slowly seeping out of his system. He looked around at his crew, noting the exhaustion on their faces, and the pride. They had done the impossible today. "Well done, everyone," he said softly. "We just saved 200 lives." As the crew began running damage assessments and tending to the rescued colonists, Alex made his way to the Astrine women. They were huddled together, looking drained but triumphant. "That was incredible," he said, struggling to find the right words. "I've never seen anything like it." Zara smiled warily. "It's not something we do lightly. The psionic link leaves us vulnerable. If the Void Horde had managed to counterattack..." She trailed off, and Alex saw a flicker of fear in her eyes. Without thinking, he reached out and took her hand. "But they didn't. You took that risk to save those people. You're heroes, all of you." The moment was interrupted by a commotion from the other side of the bridge. One of the rescued colonists, a tall man with a shock of white hair, was arguing loudly with Commander Thompson. "You don't understand," the man was shouting. "We can't leave. The artifact, it's still down there." Alex strode over, his captain's mask firmly in place. "What's going on here?" The colonist turned to him, eyes wild with desperation. "Captain, please, you have to go back. There's an ancient artifact in the mines. It's why the Void Horde attacked. If they get their hands on it..." "Slow down," Alex said, holding up a hand. "What kind of artifact?" "We don't know exactly," the man replied. "But it's old, older than anything we've ever encountered. And it has power, incredible power. We were studying it when the Void Horde attacked. They must have detected its energy signature." Alex exchanged a look with Zara, seeing his own concern mirrored in her eyes. An artifact of unknown power, coveted by the Void Horde. This could change everything. But before he could respond, a violent tremor shook the ship. Alarms blared as the lights flickered. "Multiple hull breaches," Rodriguez shouted. "We've got intruders." Alex's blood ran cold as he realized the truth. In their haste to escape, they had brought something aboard, something that was now threatening to tear the Starseeker apart from the inside. As chaos erupted around him, Alex knew that the real battle for survival was only just beginning. The Void Horde was here, on his ship, and the lives of everyone aboard, human and Astrine alike, now hung in the balance. With determination burning in his eyes, Alex turned to face the coming storm. Whatever the cost, he would protect his crew, his ship, and the 4 alien women who had come to mean more to him than he ever thought possible. The fate of 2 species, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested in their hands. Klaxons blared throughout the Starseeker as Captain Alex Chen raced through the corridors, phaser in hand. The ship shuddered under his feet, the sound of tearing metal and distant explosions echoing through the halls. "Status report," he barked into his communicator as he ran. Commander Thompson's voice crackled back, strained and urgent. "Void Horde forces have breached decks 7 through 12, sir. They're moving fast, adapting to our defenses. We can't hold them back for long. Alex gritted his teeth. What about the colonists? Secured in the cargo bay, but we don't know how long that'll last. Captain, there's something else. The intruders, they're not just fighting, they're searching for something. The artifact. Alex's mind raced as he rounded a corner, nearly colliding with a group of his security team. Hold this corridor at all costs, he ordered them before continuing his sprint towards the bridge. As he entered, the scene before him was one of controlled chaos. Crew members worked frantically at their stations, while the 4 Estrine women stood in a tight circle, their hands linked and eyes glowing with psychic energy. Report, Alex demanded, moving to the command chair. Lieutenant Rodriguez looked up from her console, fear evident in her eyes. The Void Horde is accessing our computer systems, sir. They're tearing through our firewalls like they're not even there. Can we initiate a full system shutdown? She shook her head. Not without leaving us dead in space, and even then, I'm not sure it would stop them. Alex turned to the Estrines. Any luck on your end? Zara broke from the circle, her face drawn with exhaustion. We're doing what we can to disrupt their neural networks, but they're learning, adapting. It's like nothing we've ever encountered before. A violent tremor shook the ship, nearly throwing them off their feet. Hull breach on Deck 9, someone shouted. Alex made a split-second decision. We need to know what we're dealing with. Zara, come with me. The rest of you, keep doing what you can to slow them down. Thompson, you have the bridge. As they raced towards the cargo bay, Alex filled Zara in on what the colonist had told him about the artifact. Her eyes widened with each word. If what you're saying is true, she said, then this artifact could be the key to defeating the Void Horde once and for all. But in their hands, it could mean the end of everything, Alex finished grimly. They burst into the cargo bay, quickly locating the white-haired colonist among the huddled groups of survivors. The man jumped to his feet as they approached. Captain, we need to go back. We can't let them. Alex cut him off. No time for that. Tell me everything you know about this artifact. Now. As the colonist spoke, describing an object of immense power and unknown origin, Alex felt a chill run down his spine. This wasn't just a weapon or a piece of advanced technology. If the colonist was to be believed, this artifact had the potential to reshape reality itself. Zora's voice was hushed with awe. It sounds like, but it can't be, the Nexus Key. It's supposed to be a myth, a story to give hope to children. What is it? Alex pressed. A device created by the Precursors, an ancient race that seeded the galaxy with life. It's said to have the power to alter the fabric of space-time, to rewrite the laws of physics themselves. But it was lost eons ago, thought to be nothing more than a legend. Another violent shake rocked the ship, and Alex's communicator crackled to life. Captain, it was Thompson, his voice tight with panic. They've breached the bridge. We can't. The transmission cut off abruptly. Alex's blood ran cold. He turned to Zara, seeing his own fear reflected in her eyes. We're out of time. If the Void Horde gets control of the ship, they'll go back for the artifact, Zara finished, and then nothing will be able to stop them. In that moment, looking into Zara's eyes, Alex knew what he had to do. It was insane, probably suicidal, but it was their only chance. We need to get to the shuttle bay, he said, his voice filled with grim determination. We're going back to that planet. Zara's eyes widened in understanding. You mean to find the artifact before they do? Alex nodded. It's our only shot, but I can't ask you to come with me. This isn't your fight. Zara's hand found his, her touch sending a surge of warmth through him despite the dire situation. Alex, it became our fight the moment you saved us. Where you go, I go. Where you stand, I stand. The intensity of her gaze, the unwavering loyalty in her voice, nearly took Alex's breath away. But there was no time for sentiment. Not now. All right, he said, squeezing her hand before letting go. Let's move. They fought their way through the chaos-filled corridors of the Star Seeker. using a combination of Alex's tactical knowledge and Zora's psionic abilities to evade or neutralize the Void Horde forces they encountered. As they reached the shuttle bay, they found Lyra, Naya, and Vex waiting for them. "Did you really think we'd let you two have all the fun?" Naya quipped, though the tension in her voice belied her light tone. Alex looked at the four Astrine women, feeling a swell of emotion he couldn't quite name. "This mission, there's a good chance we won't come back." Vex stepped forward, her usually stoic face softened by a hint of a smile. "Then we'll face that possibility together, Captain, as one." As they boarded the shuttle, alarms still blaring throughout the ship, Alex allowed himself a moment to marvel at the strange twists of fate that had brought him here. Stranded on a crippled ship, about to embark on a desperate mission with four alien women he had come to care for more deeply than he ever thought possible. The shuttle's engines roared to life as Alex took the controls. Through the view screen, he could see Void Horde ships swarming around the Starseeker like angry insects. "Hold on," he said, his voice steady despite the fear and anticipation coursing through him. "This is going to be one hell of a ride." As the shuttle shot out of the bay, weaving through enemy fire and debris, Alex knew that the fate of not just the Starseeker, not just Earth or the Astrine homeworld, but the entire galaxy now rested on their shoulders. The race against time had begun, and losing was not an option. The shuttle streaked through the atmosphere of the mining planet, trailing fire as it plummeted towards the surface. Inside, Captain Alex Chen wrestled with the controls, his jaw clenched in concentration. "Void Horde ships incoming," Lyra called out, her eyes fixed on the sensor readouts. 3. No full vessels on an intercept course. "Hang on," Alex shouted as he sent the shuttle into a steep dive, narrowly avoiding a barrage of enemy fire. The craft shuddered violently, threatening to tear itself apart under the strain. Zora's voice was steady despite the chaos. "We're approaching the coordinates of the mine. But Alex, even if we reach it, how are we supposed to find this artifact? We don't even know what it looks like." "We'll know it when we see it," Alex replied, more confidence in his voice than he felt. "It has to stand out, something that powerful can't be ordinary." The shuttle skimmed over the barren landscape, dodging rock formations and enemy fire alike. With a bone-jarring thud, Alex brought the craft down at the mouth of the mine, kicking up a cloud of dust that momentarily obscured their view. "Everyone out. Move," Alex ordered as he powered down the engines. The group spilled out of the shuttle, ducking as energy blasts from the pursuing Void Horde ships scorched the ground around them. They sprinted into the dark maw of the mine, the sounds of battle fading behind them. Emergency lights flickered to life as they descended deeper into the earth, casting eerie shadows on the rough-hewn walls. "This way," the white-haired colonist who had insisted on joining them called out. "The dig site is just ahead." As they rounded a corner, they came to an abrupt halt. Before them stretched a vast underground cavern, its walls glittering with strange, pulsing crystals. And at the center, floating serenely above a raised dais, was an object that defied description. It was a sphere, yet not a sphere. Its surface shifted and flowed like liquid metal, occasionally resolving into complex geometric patterns before dissolving again. It radiated power, an energy so potent that Alex could feel it thrumming in his bones. "The Nexus key," Zora breathed, her voice filled with awe. For a moment, they all stood transfixed by the sight. Then, a harsh voice shattered the silence. "Step away from the artifact, humans." They whirled to see a group of Void Horde soldiers emerging from the shadows, led by a towering figure whose body seemed to be a grotesque fusion of flesh and machine. Its eyes glowed with malevolent intelligence as it fixed its gaze on Alex. "So," it said, its voice a grating metallic rasp, "you are the ones who have caused us so much trouble. I am Vorax, harbinger of the void, and you have led us straight to our prize." Alex's mind raced, searching for a way out. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and cornered. But as he glanced at the four Astrine women beside him, He saw not fear, but determination. In that moment, he knew they weren't beaten yet. "Now," Alex shouted. As one, the Austrians linked hands, their eyes blazing with psionic energy. A wave of force erupted from them, sending the Void Horde soldiers staggering backward. Alex used the moment of confusion to charge forward, making a desperate grab for the Nexus key. The moment his fingers touched its surface, the world exploded into light and sound. Alex felt as if he was being torn apart and remade, his consciousness expanding to encompass the vast reaches of space and time. He saw the birth of stars, the death of galaxies, the intricate web of possibility that underlaid all of reality. And he understood. With a thought, he reshaped the cavern around them, erecting barriers of solid light to hold back the Void Horde. Another thought, and the wounds of his companions were healed, their strength renewed. Vorax roared in fury, its form shifting and growing as it drew upon its own dark powers. "You think you can wield the power of the precursors, human? You are nothing, a mote of dust in the cosmic wind." It lashed out with tendrils of writhing darkness, seeking to rip the Nexus key from Alex's grasp. But Alex stood firm, drawing upon not just the artifact's power, but something else, the strength of the bonds he had forged with the Austrians, the unwavering loyalty of his crew, the very essence of what made humanity resilient in the face of overwhelming odds. "You're wrong," Alex said, his voice resonating with power. "We may be young, we may be small, but we are not alone, and we will never stop fighting for what's right." With a surge of will, Alex pushed back against Vorax's assault. The harbinger of the void screamed as its form began to unravel, the dark energies that sustained it turning inward. "Now," Alex called out to the Austrians. "Together." The four women added their psionic might to Alex's efforts. A beam of pure, radiant energy lanced out, enveloping Vorax and its remaining forces. There was a moment of blinding light, a sound like the universe itself holding its breath, and then silence. As the light faded, Alex found himself on his knees, the Nexus key cool and inert in his hands. The Void Horde was gone, banished to a realm beyond space and time. The threat they had posed to the galaxy was over. Zara was the first to reach him, helping him to his feet. Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears as she looked at him with a mixture of awe and affection. "You did it, Alex. You saved us all." Alex shook his head, a tired smile on his face. "We did it. Together." As the group made their way back to the surface, they found a changed world. The Starseeker hung in orbit, restored and free of Void Horde influence. Across the galaxy, reports were coming in of Void Horde forces suddenly disappearing, their threat vanishing like a bad dream in the light of day. In the days that followed, as the crew of the Starseeker worked to help the colonists rebuild and prepare for their journey home, Alex found himself reflecting on all that had happened. The boundaries between human and Austrian seemed to have blurred, with members of both species working and laughing together as if they had known each other for years. And then there were the four Austrian women who had changed his life so completely. As he stood on the observation deck, watching the twin suns of the system set in a blaze of color, he felt their presence behind him. "So," he said, turning to face them, "what happens now?" Zara stepped forward, taking his hand in hers. "Now, Alex Chen, we have a choice to make. All of us." "In our culture," Lyra explained, "when individuals face great challenges together, when they form bonds as deep as the ones we forged, they have the option to make those bonds permanent." "Are you proposing?" Alex asked, his eyes wide with surprise. Naya grinned, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "To put it in human terms, yes. All of us, to you." "It is not a decision to be made lightly," Vex added, her usual seriousness softened by a gentle smile. "But we have faced death together, saved each other countless times. In our hearts, we are already one." Alex looked at each of them in turn, feeling a swell of emotion so profound it almost overwhelmed him. He thought of the incredible journey they had been through, the barriers they had overcome, the future they had fought so hard to secure. In the end, the decision wasn't hard at all. "Yes," he said simply, his voice thick with emotion. "Yes to all of you." As they came together in an embrace, the stars seeming to shine a little brighter outside the viewport, Alex knew that this was just the beginning. There would be challenges ahead, integrating their cultures, explaining their relationship to both their peoples, continuing to explore the wonders and dangers of the galaxy. But whatever the universe had in store for them, they would face it as they had faced the Void Horde, together, united by bonds stronger than distance, deeper than space, and more enduring than time itself. As the Starseeker prepared to embark on its next great adventure, with a crew that now bridged 2 species and a captain whose heart belonged to 4 extraordinary women, Alex Chen looked to the stars with hope and excitement. The future, vast and unknown, beckoned, and they would meet it, hand in hand, as one.